Hello.
What's up, man?
Hey, how you doing?
Good, we're doing good.
I see you posted a video 3 days ago. It was really good. I watched the entire thing, an hour and a half. Wow.
Yeah, quite a bit. It was very, very long and tedious process, but we got it done.
I can't imagine editing a video that long, but it was like a
Oh
compilation
boy.
of all those videos, right?
Yeah, it was all 5 episodes and each episode was a different item.
Mm-hmm.
I guess if I had to put it into a number, I think probably I had to put in easily, oh God, 150 to 200 hours.
Wow.
Like it was a lot to edit.
Mm-hmm. Well,
And
so go ahead.
yep.
Go ahead.
But what was it? Even with the amount of people, or at least I had a lot of people work on it. Funny enough,
Mm-hmm.
like as much as I like to say I did everything, I really didn't. We had a lot of people. We had two people for writing, a couple of people for design, animation. It was pretty much a film production at this point.
Yeah, it was pretty much a movie.
Yeah, yeah, it's pretty much a movie. What was it? I do have I have a bunch of different thumbnails for the movie, but it looks like the one with Preston looking, completely unalived with, the text right next to it ended up doing the best, and the
Yeah.
ones that I paid hundreds of dollars on ended up doing so much worse. I'm like, all right, I'll pack up my bags.
Yeah, that thumbnail, that's actually what drew me into the video. But before we go any further, let everybody know who you are.
Yeah, I am Stuwiee. I used to be a pet simulator YouTuber, not anymore. I am no longer. I am an ex pet simulator YouTuber and partner. I'm quite literally going to go up to Nixie tomorrow, not tomorrow, Saturday, and ask for my partner to be revoked.
Really?
Yeah, I frankly don't really want partner anymore because after Saturday, I'm never gonna play this game ever again.
Mm-hmm.
But I am proud of what I've done with the game. I've gotten a lot of people interested and disinterested in the game, but my only goal was to make good videos and ruin the economy. And I think I think I've done both of that. I think I've done it pretty well.
Yeah, there's a lot of controversy on the internet today that I've noticed behind your
Oh yeah.
video.
I've seen a little bit of it, like people on hell.com, or as other people like to call it, Twitter. I like to personally call it the pits of hell, but I've seen people on there, complain about like, oh, how are we letting a guy who's ruining the economy, be a partner and get like perks from them? And they have a good point. They completely have a valid point, and I'm not hiding it. I the whole movie was to ruin the economy. It's from start to finish. Although
Hmm.
I must admit that the whole what was it? The whole movie, I was like, just inflating and deflating and just like buying as many things as possible is just going to be boring after a while.
Hmm.
Because I did it before. I did it with the boots, and I was like, all right, I want to do it again, but I want it different. So I was like, all right, what if it was multiple items, and what if we did a competition where we got X amount of people had to gain as or collect as many items as possible, and we slowly start cutting down on who gets the most until we only end up with one winner left.
Hmm.
And that ended up just a little idea I came up last July. Just I was talking to a few people. I was like, hey, should I do this competition idea? And they're like, yeah, sure. And I said, I wonder how long this is going to take. And they said, oh yeah, you'll be done by like October. It'll be quick. No, I started. I we started it on August 20 something. I think it was 26th, August
Hmm.
26th, and um, the competition ended on October 10th. It took 2 months.
Wow.
which was a lot of time. And then the editing took another 5 months.
Hmm.
Yeah, last episode was posted late March. So, and then we had this movie recently. So it was quite a bit. But
So
yeah.
what about that ending? That ending like almost hinted on a part two of the whole thing.
Oh, okay. So, I'm glad you mentioned that. And to put it bluntly, no, there will not be a part two of me destroying the pet sim economy. I think I've done enough. I think this, as it is already enough. The whole message, the whole, you know, uh, you know, I don't know how to call it, but people call it the I've heard a lot of people call it the Henry situation, which is like a reference to FNAF because it people compared one of the FNAF scenes to this. I was like, all right, but it's basically the plan reveal where I made this plan, of slowly deteriorating the economy step by step, episode by episode and I made that back in like September,
Hmm.
and I'm not even joking when I say it is a 19-page document of everything that needs to go right. And
Wow.
I went through, it was a giant bulletin list, and I recently went through it, see what I'd done, and out of the 13 pages, no, sorry, not 13, out of the 19 pages, um what was it? 16 of them were all green, meaning I think I did a pretty good job of following it. But
Wow.
the whole point or the whole goal, to put it simply, was to make good
Hmm.
videos you know, on the competition to inflate the rap and get as much, because I figured if we want people to get as many items as possible, we allow sabotaging, which would indirectly want them to inflate the price.
Hmm.
So instead of telling them to inflate it, you're like, what if we just like kind of like egg them on to, like, we don't tell them, but like we kind of like indirectly tell them. So
Yeah.
that's how a lot of prices kind of, skyrocketed during that point. There were a few, rainbow swirls exploded in popularity in like October, name
Hmm.
tags in November, millionaire bucks in December. But during that time, it was kind of like nothing was really happening. And then once the competition ended and the episodes started getting rolled out, that's when people started to slowly see the economy with those items, with like specifically items, slowly start going up and just like tiptoe right above. No one
Hmm.
really noticed it at first. I'm like, this means it's working,
Yeah.
because when I was uploading the episodes, um, one thing I wanted to really make sure was to let the viewer know that, hey, I just grabbed 30 people and we're doing this. Who says you can't?
Yeah.
Who says you can't? Of course, I don't promote. I have my morals. I don't promote. Blackmail and extorting people. Like, there was a controversy a couple months ago about one of the contestants supposedly blackmailing someone, and we had like a whole interview process. Like, we made sure that they were penalized, and apparently a lot of the evidence was fake. It was a whole thing. I didn't want to
Hmm.
put it in the movie because it would have looked
Hmm.
really really weird. But yeah, so we make sure that the moral part's pretty nailed.
Yeah.
Like we don't promote cross trading at all. Like, we had out of the so to get the 30 contestants, we had 500 applicants, and we out of the 500 we accepted 50, and then we slowly started interviewing each and every one of them until we ended up getting 30.
Hmm.
So, and then we figured out of the 50, 7 were affiliated with cross trading or exploiting servers and groups,
Oh
and
wow.
open about it too. They were like very, very open about it. So, Item Apocalypse would have been very different if we allowed those people in, but no, we
Yeah.
got rid of them instantly, and we made sure no one was hacking or exploiting or cross trading. But you know, if as long as we're moral, yeah, you can inflate whatever item you want. I don't encourage you, or I should say, I'm not telling you to inflate huges. I would rather you inflate something useless. But if you just want to inflate something, you know, a huge or something like that, as long as you're being moral about it, you just want to like, you know, just do things with it. And then I think, you know, I was like, all right, why not? So the whole series was basically just egging on people to like inflate their own items, cause their own item apocalypse. Like a lot of people would be asking, "Oh, can you do banana apocalypse? Can you do what's another item? Can you do like ticket apocalypse, rave ticket apocalypse? Can you do snowball apocalypse?" And all these other items. And I'm like, why don't you do that? Like, why don't you do that? And people were thinking, oh, he's just lazy and he doesn't want to do it. But no, I like that was all a part of it. I just said, you know, you should do it your own. And a lot of people have. A lot of people have inflated their own items. You know, potions have been everywhere. You know, lower tier items. I haven't really seen pets like Huges and Titanics go insanely high out of nowhere, but you know, it's been a slow increase. But you know, out of all these months, I think the person who really broke the economy the most, you know, I'll take my second place award, but I'm going to be honest, I think the person who broke the economy the most was big games. I think they're the ones who ruined the economy from the very, very start.
Yes.
Like, you know, they're the ones who control how to get huges, how many there are, you know, the indirect pricing. It's you know, as the moment that you start putting you know, authority on the economy, it's like, you know, it doesn't go well. And I'm not trying to like say anything else, but that's just, you know, that's just what I really thought about it. It's just you know, I was like, Preston inflating the economy, I could do better than that. And you know, unlike Preston, I made it into a fun little series. Preston was like, you know, I just kind of want money, and he got his money. To be fair, he got his money. But yeah, that's pretty much it with you know, the economy side of it.
Yeah. So everything you've done with the video, it was like perfectly planned out. You know, the way you said you had like 500 applicants, you interviewed of 50, and you narrowed it down to 30. Do you have any sort of background in this already before making this series, or is this your like first time jumping into something like this?
So, do you mean like the competition or like just making these videos in general?
Just like planning out the entire competition and the video and everything, just piecing it all together.
So, interestingly that you said that, because I do have a lot of experience of doing, you know, I mean, obviously on YouTube, I did a couple competitions before this. They were very small. One of them was Jeopardy, like Pet Sim Jeopardy. Another one was just, it was kind of like a demo of Item Apocalypse. It was just, we got 9 people to get as many charms as possible. It was just a little experiment to prove a theory that I had, but it ended up working out. But yeah, no, besides those two, I do have a lot of experience, you know, being like lead in production in a lot of student films, because I am in fact a film and post-production student. And I do a lot of different I work on a lot of films. No feature films yet. I'm planning to get into at least a feature film within the next year or so, but right now we're just kind of, you know, sticking with the local and the student films, and we, you know, bring into film festivals. And a lot of people don't know how to like manage a team, and I was like, you know what, you know, I don't have like a degree to prove that I can manage a team, but I'll give it a try. And you know, and majority of the time, yeah, it works. Like I assign people what to do. We go through an interview process of who to accept. We make sure it's like pitch perfect with the director, because I was kind of like the manager, they were the director. Or actually sometimes I was both. I was basically just working with myself. But yeah, I actually do have quite a bit of background experience with you know, doing the whole process of getting people in, making sure that they're good. And I think Item Apocalypse has taught me a lot of if I was ever to do a competition
Mm-hmm.
again.
Mm-hmm.
And that is definitely one thing I gotta say is make the incentive a lot greater than just the prize, because a lot of people were being kind of underwhelmed when I showed the prizes. Like they were pretty low. I think back then it was like uh it was depending on obviously when you got out, but I think minimum prize was like 25 mil, which was like half a huge.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, oh, and people weren't really that psyched for it. So I decided to quadruple it. So
Mm-hmm.
now it was 100 mil, and that literally made me broke. The competition made me broke, and praise Night Fox for giving me that Titanic, because legit, I think I might have had like maybe like 50 huges to my name at that point,
Wow.
because I was broke. I was running out of funding. So he came in clutch, and now we have the opposite problem. Now we have too much funding. I don't know how I'm supposed to spend 100 billion in 2 days, but we'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. We're planning to be smart with it. We're not just gonna kind of like blow it on one thing.
Mm-hmm.
We're so a lot of other YouTubers, smaller YouTubers, are planning to do some of their own competitions and contests and productions and whatnot. I like to promote creative productions on Pet Sim, because
Mm-hmm.
that's really what this community needs. So a lot of people are like, "Oh, I want to do a gargantuan giveaway as a competition," or "Oh, I want to do like a Shark Tank version of Pet Sim," or and there's a lot of other ideas. And I
Mm-hmm.
was like, you know what? Let me fund those. Let me fund those. I feel like it would be pretty good. So we are giving a good portion of the funding of like basically everything I was ever given
Mm-hmm.
to these projects, because I feel like they're pretty good. And also, of course, I'm not going to leave the fans in the dark. I'm probably going to be giving away a Titanic's on
Mm-hmm.
Saturday, probably. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. Probably when this comes out, you'll probably find out. But yeah, yeah. To basically answer your question, yeah, I have a little experience, managing all these types of events like this and productions.
Yeah, with the quality of the video and from everything you said at the start of the podcast, I'm just thinking this guy has some past experience with things like this.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, yep.
So everything that was given to you in these videos, all the boots, all the poo, all everything, all of that is what you're talking about, the funding, the 100 billion.
Oh no, no, no. If you actually counted those, I would be in the. I hate that I'm saying this. I would be in the hundreds of trillions if that actually counted, because I've like almost 10 million name tags and 4 million boots, and each one of them is like at least just like around 100K. So it
Mm-hmm.
adds up. But no, I'm talking about like actual diamonds, huges, Titanics that were given
Oh, okay.
throughout the months, because I had my mailbox open for anyone to send anything.
Mm-hmm.
And pretty much if you sent anything, I would put you in the credits of the video.
Okay.
Um, of course, it can't just be anything. It would either have to be one of the items that I made a video on, or it'd have to be like something of actual value, like a huge or a Titanic or some diamonds. Pretty much, if you donated anything of value, you would be put into the video.
Mm-hmm.
And when you think about it, you people wonder like, how does my donation to this guy's mailbox end up getting onto the end screen of the same guy's videos? Like, what is the process of that? And that's a question that some people asked. And to put it simply, we have a team for that. We have a team of going through my mailbox, scanning and putting into a spreadsheet and organizing it and putting them into the credits. Like, we had a team of 3 people at one point go through. I would basically screenshot my mailbox. I would send it into this group chat, and then they would all take turns going through it and putting it into a spreadsheet. And that's how you ended up with the spreadsheet that is now almost 7,000 usernames long.
Wow.
So yeah, it was a that whole the whole spiel with the just sending me things ended up being a very tedious process that I had to really learn how to do.
Hmm.
So, but yeah, I did have a lot of funding as the series went on, and I was like, oh man, I should really make another series. But then I decided to really just stop with the pet sim videos. I was like, you know what? I was thinking about doing one more. I was thinking about doing a snowball apocalypse,
Hmm.
but it wouldn't just be collecting snowballs and inflating them. It would be like a bracket tournament of a snowball fight, and the winner would get a rainbow Titanic.
Wow.
I feel like that would be a very interesting video, and if anyone watching wants to actually do that, then please be my guest. But for me, I'm not doing that because I just want to move on with Pet Sim.
Hmm. Now, what's the reasoning behind you wanting to leave the pet sim?
It really just comes down to I've been making videos on Pet Sim for almost 4 years.
Hmm.
My first Pet Sim video was 3 days before Pet Sim X came out, and I like to classify myself as the first Pet Sim X YouTuber because I technically had the first Pet Sim X video out even before the trailer,
Hmm.
even before the trailer.
Wow.
Um, but yeah, I've been making videos on the game for almost 4 years, and I feel like it's time to move on. It's time to put this era of the channel to rest,
Hmm.
and move on with it. And I mean, I've done a lot of things in Pet Sim. I mean, in that era of Pet Sim, I have 4 series I've worked on and a few projects. Like we got the huge pet speed runs, which is basically I buy a huge or plushie
Hmm.
from Big Games' website, and when it came in the mail, I would just completely destroy it on camera. And then we had a series called the Chances series where I would basically ask my friend for chances because he had like access to hacks and exploits. I would
Hmm.
ask him to go into the code and get the chances for the huge that would come out every week
Hmm.
because there was always a new huge coming out every week in PetSimX. So I asked him to get the chances and he would give it back to me. And also just to clarify, I did not, I was not the one using the exploits. It was my friend who was using them, and to my knowledge, he was doing nothing malicious with them. He was just getting chances and getting sprite data. That's it. But what ended up just being videos where you'd find out how common a huge is ended up turning into a whole lore based series.
Hmm.
There was a whole lore to it and a whole storyline, but we actually never ended up finishing it. And then obviously we had the Pet Sim X mini movie, which is just 17 minutes of. It was kind of like an ultimate recap of what happened in Pet Sim X for people
Hmm.
who wanted to play Pet Sim 99.
Hmm.
And then we had Boopocalypse and Apocalypse too. So yeah, I've done too much on this game to
Yeah.
be quite fair, and I feel like it's time to move on.
Now, is it moving on from Pet Sim or moving on from Roblox in general?
So I am moving to general Roblox. That is
Hmm.
one thing I can promise. I'll be staying on the Roblox platform. But a lot of people, when they hear that, they're going to be like, "Oh, he's going to play like Bubblegum Sim, or he's going to be playing Dead Rails, or Grow a Garden, or whatever is on the homepage nowadays." But no, I'll be making videos or surrounding about the Roblox community
Hmm.
platform, not really about a specific game, maybe a specific genre. I mean, the next video I am going to be posting, or the videos from now on, are going to be quite literally the definition of a cinematic based YouTube video. Like
Hmm.
it's going to be a short film, basically. All of them from now on, and they're gonna be, and I promise they're gonna be good. Um, I can't obviously leak too much about it, but I can say that it's about it's about the long term, or I shouldn't say long term effects, but it's about the general effects of child gambling and
Mm-hmm.
what Roblox and how it's affiliated. But it's going to be a whole short film. It's not just going to be some guy playing Arsenal and just yapping in a mic for 30 minutes. Like I don't consider that content. I actually want to make something good and fun out of it.
Yeah.
So you know, in terms of release date, I honestly don't know. We're looking. I know this sounds crazy, but we're looking at a release date of late June, early July, which I know is like 2 months away. But great things take time. So
Mm. And in my last episode, I was talking to Beveruni. She's a game developer for Super Solid. She made the games on Roblox, Ropets, and Eternal Heroes. And I was talking to her that there should be a content creator who makes a series where they just completely revive dead games that deserve to be revived. And as you were telling me about your ideas for general Roblox videos, I was thinking maybe you could do challenge videos to revive a dead game. So, for example, Eternal Heroes by Super Solid. That game is like the most gorgeous game on Roblox. The graphics are incredible. The gameplay is fun. And if you were to do a challenge, some kind of contest on Eternal Heroes, and then just out of nowhere the game is completely revived, that in itself would be a challenge for you with a challenge inside the video for the contestants. Would that be something you'd be interested in doing?
Um, I'm not. So I do like the idea, and there are a few YouTubers who have series where they basically just review games that should definitely have more players,
Mm-hmm.
or and basically just kind of like do exactly what you said. There are already YouTubers who do that. Um, I know one is what's his name? He hates Pet Simulator and he loves Regretivator. That's all I remember. It's Ghost something. Hold on. Go Pet Simulator is worse than you thought. That's what I remember it as. Bedsheet Ghost. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
this guy pretty much his whole bit is that he would rate really underrated games, and he would bring them back to life.
Mm-hmm.
And he does a pretty good job at it. Although I would be saying I probably wouldn't be making content revolving around reviving dead games. Maybe a single film could
Mm-hmm.
be around that, but I'm not exactly sure yet. We're still kind of kinking out. We're still ironing out the kinks
Mm-hmm.
to this whole new idea of making short films for the channel.
Yeah,
And
transitioning from Pet Simulator. You know.
yeah, and a lot of people have been saying, oh, when he transitions from pet sim to this new niche, it's going to be the worst fall off we've ever seen. And to be fair, it could be. It really could. I'm not going to be the guy who says, oh, it's going to be the best thing ever. No, I really don't know. But you got to take that risk.
Yeah.
I think I'm doing a pretty good job at currently converting my current audience to that new Roblox audience, especially
Mm-hmm.
with this new movie that's out. But it definitely could be an idea. I do like the idea. I just don't think I'm going to do another competition
Mm-hmm.
because, like I said, Item Apocalypse was 2 months long, and the series ended up being 7 months long. Like since the day that we started production,
Mm-hmm.
it's been 7 months. So
That's
I don't
crazy.
think I would be dedicated to another series like that ever again. But who knows? We might see something like that.
Yeah, it's 6, 7 months to make, multiple videos, but one movie. That's just crazy. When it comes to like YouTube, Roblox content, that 6, 7 months is crazy.
Oh yeah.
So, should I be right back or BRB? I should say be right back. Should I
I
BRB?
know that guy. All right.
Should I BRB? So, how much of a involvement does he have other than being a contestant?
In Item Apocalypse,
Yes.
I gotta say, he has actually contributed a lot to the Iron Apocalypse besides being a contestant. Um, so for no joke when I say this, episode 1, 2, 3, and 5,
Mm,
um, those thumbnails were made by him.
okay.
I had someone else do episode 4, very briefly, but then he made the thumbnail for that right after. So technically, all 5 of them, he's made a thumbnail for. So he also is credited as a thumbnail artist too.
Hmm.
What else? He's done thumbnails for me. He has been a contestant. What was it? He wasn't a part of writing, but he did recommend a few things to go into the writing portion about it. And also, he is a big part of the lore. Like
Hmm.
he was basically the driving factor that, he really thought that the competition was a complete failure.
Hmm.
And, that whole bit with him saying like, oh yeah, I could have changed it like that. Like that wasn't like, I mean, obviously it's exaggerated, but that really wasn't made up. Like he genuinely thought he had the competition in the palm of his hand, and he could just
Hmm.
change it whenever he wanted. But then, I dropped that, scene, and then he just completely changed his mind,
Hmm.
completely just 180'd. But yeah, he's had a bit of an impact. He's done thumbnails. He's part of the lore. He's a contestant. He's done voice lines too. Um, and yeah, that's all I can really think of with his involvement in the series.
Hmm. Yeah, with him in the lore aspect, he seems like he's the final boss. Don't the final boss almost.
Yeah,
That's what
yeah,
I see him as in the lore.
yeah. He's like he is the final boss for like the majority of it until it's revealed that it's actually me. So he's like the pretend
Yeah.
final boss, but I gotta say this. I know it's a bit off topic, but the whole point of the movie, or I did put like morals and lessons in it,
Hmm.
like how the main moral was you shouldn't hurt others for your own benefit. I feel
Hmm.
like that was the main message I tried telling through it, and there were 3 different. In reality, there was like more like 7 or 8, but I decided to document and put in 3 different friendships that were broken
Hmm.
because of the competition, and were either fixed, were either never fixed, or they were like permanently damaged.
Hmm.
Like there's a whole arc about how Cosmo,
Hmm.
the guy that I constantly interviewed, he was the purple guy,
Yep.
constantly, you know, he he had this, like, he wanted to win, then he got hit with a reality check,
Yep.
and he's like, I don't think I could do this anymore, and he had a whole panic attack and he started losing it. And then he's decided to lock in and like say, you know what? If I'm gonna win, I'm gonna be aggressive. So, and then
Hmm.
he became aggressive, and he hurt a lot of people on his way, and he didn't even end up winnings.
Yeah.
And he really didn't get. Obviously, he got his all of his money back, but he didn't really get the things that he wanted, and he lost a lot in the process.
Yeah. And
Um,
he had that little speech at the end too
Yeah, that
about
whole
that.
that whole speech with it too. Oh my
Hmm.
goodness! Shout out Mogul Imp for helping me write this entire script. Mogul Imp is actually he's actually a part of my my Get Ready film crew at
Hmm.
my school.
Okay.
So when I really I needed someone to help me write it, and I was like, you seem like you know what you're doing, because he ended up drafting a 32-page script for a play
Hmm.
that we were originally going to film, but actually we ended up getting cut funding, so it
Oh
got
no.
trashed. But I was like, damn, this is really good. Do you want to help me write a script for a video I'm working on? He's like, yeah, sure. So he ended up helping a lot with the lore and the writing. So
Hmm.
shout out Mogul Imp for that. But yeah, it's the whole message of the movie, which is displayed 3 separate times with 3 separate relations with
Hmm.
6 different people. But don't hurt others for your own benefit, or don't push others down to push yourself up.
Hmm.
It's not worth it in the end, and you'll end up regretting it in any situation, pretty much.
Yeah, yeah, I completely agree with that. Now, with any point in the production of this whole thing, was there ever a moment where you were like, "Oh, wait, this might actually not work out"?
Like a specific segment, or like the whole thing.
The whole thing for the ending that you wanted. So, for example, when it seemed like they patched rap manipulation,
Mhm.
because I know a
So,
few updates ago they did some updates to how you can manipulate rap and all that. So
yep,
did that at all? Because I know at one point in the video, someone did say that you can't manipulate prices anymore. And so I was just wondering, when that happened, did you think it might mess up the series?
absolutely not. And I think, like you mentioned before, the scene that, a contestant, Elias,
Hmm.
decided to inflate boots to an insane degree. And usually with the other videos, it would kind of work, like only a little bit. It would only help a little bit. But then when he did it, it didn't work at all. And
Hmm.
he was like, and he got scared. He was like, wait, this is gonna like ruin the whole thing. This is like the whole point. And then he barges into my office being like, oh, it's over. It's actually over. It's done. Pack it up. But then I told him, no, that's not why we're doing this. It's
Hmm.
everything's still going according to plan. Um, so and even when I was making, I think that happened while I was making episode 4.
Hmm.
Um, I was making that while, or I found that out during episode 4, and people were mentioning it. I was like, oh, well, that isn't affecting me. Oh well. But that's a little example. I feel like like you said before, while you're making the video, do you ever feel like that the whole thing might not work out? Yes, 100%. So many times there have been each time I made an episode, and even the full movie. Like when I was making this, I was like, oh, this isn't good. This isn't good enough. Like, what
Hmm.
am I doing? This isn't going to make sense. Who's going to get this? This is not a good video. Like constantly doubting myself. But in reality, you just gotta do it. Like, screw whatever your mind says, just put it out there and then judge yourself. Because as soon as you start judging yourself, you start like changing things. Like
Hmm.
you're like, oh, this isn't good enough. And then you change a thing that actually people will see.
Yeah.
But if you judge yourself after you post it, it's only stuck in your opinion and it doesn't affect the actual viewer experience. Because who knows? Something that you took out because you didn't feel right about might have been the deciding factor of someone subscribing or liking or, engaging or, I guess to put it more humanly, become a fan.
Hmm.
So, that's why I kind of like turn off my opinion about the whole project while I make the videos, and then I turn it back on once the videos are out.
Hmm.
So I have each time a video is out, I always have so many criticisms about it. I'm my biggest critic. Actually, no, I think Shy might be, but I'm my second biggest critic. So um, I constantly tweak things and whatnot. But yeah, no, 100% all the time. I always felt like doubting myself, like, oh, this is such a stupid idea. But no, it ended up being a completely a complete great series. I'm
Hmm.
proud of it. Obviously, it's not my peak. I'm going to show that pretty soon, but for right now, I'm pretty satisfied where it's at. I am very satisfied where it's at.
Hmm. Yeah, I'm gonna be completely honest with you. I This was the very first video of yours that I've watched. And if I had watched the entire series, video by video by video, it would have kept me hooked for the whole entire thing. And the way you executed everything was just very well done. The content was great content. And I understand why there is a little bit of controversy behind it, because yeah, you're teaching people how to manipulate prices in Pet Simulator, but honestly, it's not all that hard. You could just Google it and you'll find out. But
Right.
it's not all that hard to do. It's just constantly buy something for more. And, people are just doing it on a regular all the time for Huges, Titanics. There's a whole bunch of pets out there. And for some reason, they always choose gold pets. I don't know why. But there's a whole bunch of pets out there, a whole bunch of items that are just ridiculous prices right now, and players can't afford them. And people see this video come out and they're like, oh, we're just going to have a lot more than that. But I don't think this video is going to cause much more manipulation than there already is. But
Right.
I do understand both sides. I understand your side and I understand their side. So with everything you've learned in the process of making this series and this movie, what would be some suggestions to directly to big games on how to fix this problem?
So I feel like the reason why I did this is way more deep rooted. It's to the point where I'm like, just stop the gambling. Like
Hmm.
that's really all I have to say. Like if I was talking to Preston, I'm like, I wouldn't get rid of the gambling, but I just wouldn't make it literally 50% of anything you do in this entire game. Actually, no, sorry, 99%. That's more fitting. I wouldn't make it 99% of the why you're playing the game. Like
Hmm.
I would make it more of a very optional thing. There was a game out a few years ago. It's called Pet Posse,
Hmm.
and it was basically a pet sim copy, but they did the monetization correctly. It was basically you every single thing you can buy, the exclusive eggs, the game passes, anything that they added, you can buy using currency, not Robux, but currency that you can either grind for very slowly or you can directly purchase with Robux.
Hmm.
So so basically, you could theoretically still spend all that money directly with the Robux to get everything just like Pet Sim, but it also gives the option for free to play players to just grind the game and just work up to get the same things. Sure, it might take longer for free to play, but that's the whole point of pay to win and free to play being fair. I feel like
Hmm.
at some point, at the beginning, yes, the pay to win gets a lot more, but at some point they diverge and they become even.
Hmm.
So I feel like if PetSim did a monetization tactic like that, it would be a lot fair for everyone. And I guarantee with 117% like capacity that a lot more people would be way more happy with the game if they did that. Of course, they're gonna be like, "Oh, child gambling." Like I get that, but like, um, at least that way they're not encouraged as much to spend Robux. They have the option to just play for free.
Hmm.
And people are saying, "Oh, you can just like play the game and flip things in the economy," but that's not really the point of the game. I'm sorry, let me rephrase that. That's not what the point of the game should be. Like the
Hmm.
whole point of the game right now is it's completely economy based. It's a capitalism simulator, basically.
Hmm.
So when you're flipping things, you get some amount of diamonds from actually playing the game. You start out with like maybe a few million. You buy your first exclusive. You're like, oh, now I have this exclusive. Then you sell it for a little bit more, and then you sell it more. You buy something else. You sell it, and you keep going until you eventually get your first huge. And after your first huge, then you get your second, then your third. You're slowly building up. You're slowly working up that tower. But at
Hmm.
some point, as a free to play player, you come to a halt because a free to play player is not getting 14 gargantuans, no matter how hard they try, no
Yeah.
matter what they have. So basically, all I'm saying is that if there was a tactic that they can do where free to play players get the same access as pay to win players, but they have to work a little bit more. So there is some sort of financial incentive to put Robux in the game. But if they actually do that, at some point, yes, a free to play player can actually get 14 gargantuans just like a pay to win player. The only catch is that the pay to win player gets there way faster and way easier, which that is fair. That is the whole point of a capitalistic simulator. But at this point, what they're doing, it completely blocks free to play players and forces them to buy game passes and to buy exclusive eggs and to buy whatever or plushies or whatever they can to promote and get themselves further in the game, because that's really all anyone wants to do. It's a capitalistic simulator. And the more I say it, the more I'm like slowly starting to describe like actual real life economies.
Mm-hmm.
And I think what was it? I can't say I think, but that is actually a really big point we are going to make in a upcoming film that we are definitely going to make regarding around child gambling and Roblox simulators. That is definitely going to be a big point we'll make, and how, like, this whole pay to win, free to play aspect of Pet Simulator is actually not even that far from actual social and global economics. Like that connection is very similar. But and also to your point about like the other controversies and people complaining and how you get both sides, I do too. I completely get the other side. Like I'm not fighting with them. The claim of me showing people to how to inflate, it was pretty I was intentionally being very vague. Like obviously in the intro I said, there's something called wrap, and and this is the average price that something is sold for. And, all you have to do is just flood it with fake transactions. I should have been more specific. I should have said, more expensive transactions, because fake transactions sounds like I'm hacking or exploiting, which is that's not the point. That's not what I'm doing. So I feel like I should have restated that better. But I was being very vague. I never explained how you could, constantly, jack the price up and whatever, and actually doing it. I just described how to do it. I never described, the actual implications and to actually do the physical task of doing it. And there was a point where someone was explaining it to the camera, but I quite literally cut that whole thing out of the video, and I put the definition of gatekeeping instead. I thought it was a little comedic relief, but no, in reality, I didn't want people thinking I was directly saying, inflate everything, every huge, please scam people. Like that was not my goal. Like I was never trying to get people to scam people. My point was to get the economy to such a state where, either big games or someone up there realizes of how fragile their economy is, and they need to fix it no matter what happens. They probably won't, because they don't care about their economy. They really don't. If they did, they would have unpartnered me at this point. But no, they actually partnered me right after I inflated the entire economy with boots and completely flooded it. Like they partnered me right after. And of course, I'm not complaining. I put in my application, and Nixie's like, "Hey, we get good views. Come on the team." I'm like, "Okay, sure, sure." So, I'm still, to this day, I'm very shocked I'm still in the partner program. I'm literally just gonna go up to Nixie on Saturday and be like, "Yeah, can you just remove my partner? I don't want this anymore. It was nice while I had it, but I just don't want it anymore. Can you give it to someone else?" I want to give it to Jamal, which was a recurring character in the movie. He was basically the guy who always had his webcam on, and he was always doing those like funny faces.
The one that did the backflips.
Yeah, and the guy who was trying to do a backflip, but he like failed. Yeah, that guy, Jamal. I want to give him partner because I feel like he would have a lot of fun with that. But I know Nixie won't do that, so we can only hope.
Hey, you never know. I've interviewed Nixie on here before, and she said to her it doesn't really matter how many subs you have. It's just how much you contribute to the community, and if you just pretty much how you are as a person. Like Blox Family, that's my other channel. We have almost 7,000 subscribers, and we got partner. And when I got partner, I was just like, wait, what? How? I applied just to apply, but we still got it anyways, and I was very surprised that we got it.
And what was it? Yeah, I definitely agree with that statement. I feel like the contribution with it being, give it to people who are, who actually contribute a lot. I agree with that. I feel like that's how it should be. Although I do feel like there has to be an actual line somewhere where you cannot be under a certain amount.
Mm-hmm.
They said 50K, then it was 30K. Now I think it's just whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really know what the requirements are, but it really just depends, because a lot of people say, "Oh, why did this person with only 1,000 subscribers get partner when I'm over here with 8,000 and I still don't have partner yet?" Because you're boring. Like you don't contribute. That is why. I gotta put it blunt. Like a lot of people who complain about, not having partner when people with less of a status do, it's because they're boring. Like oh, how to get X huge in 24 hours, or here's how you get the most blank. Like it's the same thing. Like you know this.
Mm-hmm.
Search up Pet Simulator 99. Skip everything that's relating to LCLC and Night Fox, and you'll see all of these videos of basically just saying how to get infinite huge pets in 24 hours. Like I'll do it right now. I'll search up Pet Simulator 99. Like, it is going to be majority of the videos, skipping all the LCLC and Night Fox and my video, skipping all the big YouTubers that, do whatever. Here it is. How to get so many new huges in Pet Simulator 99 plus auto sell fish. How to make billions of gems every day in Pet Simulator 99. Do not do this while fishing or no luck. No rebirths, 99 areas, and more. Here's our new leaks for World 4. You need this rare and see. You get the point. It's like the same thing. It's like, it's boring.
Yeah.
It's boring. Please do something creative. Please do something nice. I guarantee if you did something creative, or if you went down my path and did a whole series of being completely original with your idea, I guarantee Nixie will see that and be like, yeah, actually, this is actually not a bad channel. I guarantee Nixie saw my views and was like, "Oh yeah, this is a no-brainer. We got to get this guy on." But I don't really know what was the deciding factor of me getting partner. I want to say it was the views, but I don't know. I definitely reached the requirements by like tenfold, but I don't know. Maybe Nixie saw something in the videos that was like, this is partner material. I didn't really see it, but kudos to that.
And that's weird that you want to give it up. It's I don't think any partner has ever given up their partnership willingly.
And yeah, you're right. There actually was a point where Shy did want to give up his partner, and then he actually lost his partner, and now he wants it back. But that's a completely different story. But yeah, I feel like the logic of stopping while you're at the highest is a lot better than dragging it out until the point where you're just beating the dead horse. Like, I easily could make a season 3, a season 4, a season 5, a season 6, or however long. But I guarantee you, people are going to be sick and tired and being like, you're pushing it. You're really pushing it, and you're dragging it. You fell off, and the views are going to slowly go down and down and down. I don't want to be in that state. I've been in that state where I've made videos that were clearly dying, and I wanted to move on. So I feel like stopping while I'm at the top is like the way to go, and going to something completely different. Not really completely different, but something that will make me and a lot more people way more enjoy the videos a lot more.
Yeah, if you don't enjoy what you're making, it's not going to be good.
Oh yeah, I guarantee, like, the quality is only going up. It's to the point where I'm pretty sure, with the exception of, like I said before, LCLC, Night Fox, and maybe Numerous, like, with the exception of those 3 YouTubers, or like the really big YouTubers, like maybe Gravy, Catman, and Russo, I'm pretty sure I'm like the only person who's like actively putting a big budget on these videos, because these videos cost money because I'm hiring people. And of course, some of them are like, "Oh yeah, I can just take Petsum stuff." I'm like, deal, please take my Petsum stuff. That is your payment. But at some point we're both like, yeah, we got to pay you in actual currency, because if there's no way I'm actually paying you for this much work and I'm giving you like 30 huges, like, that is actually ripping you off. So there is a definite actual budget in these videos. Night Fox and LCLC and the bigger YouTubers, probably have a fixed, I'm assuming, you probably know this better than I do, but I'm assuming they have a fixed sum of money that they would give to the editors and they would just send it back. Like it's just you send the money and you get it back. It's just you're paying one guy.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm assuming.
Yeah, with Night Fox, he has multiple editors and multiple thumbnail artists, and he just constantly has people working at all times. And what he has told me during his podcast was if he doesn't have a video for an editor to edit for him, he'll just pay for the editor to edit someone else's video. That way he doesn't lose that editor. He keeps everybody busy at all
Oh,
times.
okay. That is pretty. I gotta admit that is pretty smart. And you know, with Night Fox's background prior to him being full time on YouTube, because I've heard something about that. With his videos and also, I've talked to him every once in a while. I definitely believe that he has the complete capability of managing a bunch of people. And I got to be
Mm-hmm.
honest, he's smart with it. He's smart with it, like constantly keeping people busy and
Mm-hmm.
keeping the jobs flowing. That is smart. I just don't, I'm not posting that frequently. That's the thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if I'm commissioning someone, it's going to be like, every 3 to 4 weeks for like a week's worth of work
Mm-hmm.
instead of, being like 6 days a week and you're constantly working every day. Like that's how you get a stable income. I
Yeah.
can't really promise that with, that's why I never hired full-time employees like Night Fox does.
Mm-hmm.
I'm commission based, meaning, um, there's an artist, there's an editor, there's an animator. I'm like, all right, here's a storyboard. Here's what I want. I'll go over with you in a call. Here's the rate. Here's what I need. Get it done by X, and that's it.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. They just do it. I pay them. That's the end of it. I'll probably commission them again, but in reality, it can just stop there. I have no obligation to keep hiring them. But like I was saying before, these videos are getting to a point where the budget is becoming, more than a pet sim video should ever be.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to be fully honest. I'm just gonna drop this out there now, but the movie ended up. I did all the invoices the other day, and I calculated that the movie ended up costing almost $800 to make.
Wow.
So it was a lot of money that I had to put in, but it made it back. So
Mm-hmm.
we're good. We're chilling. So I'm really glad I hired people and didn't just do everything by myself, because one, obviously it looks better, and two, it gave a lot of people the option to just kind of like show their creativity. Like, as you might remember, there is a full blown fight scene that my good friend over here Samoy animated,
Mm-hmm.
and it's a fight scene between Clown and Speedsy. The guy who throws the table at the other guy, and
Mm-hmm.
he's like, "What the hell is wrong with you?" And they have a whole fight scene. They battle it out, and in that fight scene, I had someone animate it, I had someone design it, and I had someone make music for it.
Mm-hmm.
So it was
Oh,
like
even
it was a
music.
combined effort. It was a lot.
Wow.
So, but giving people these opportunities to kind of just like express themselves in these projects and get paid for it and also get a shout out with it too. I feel like that just promotes creativity, if anything, which is
Mm-hmm.
definitely needed in this community. And moving out to a more general Roblox, it will give more people the opportunity. It will give more of a incentive for these types of videos to exist. Who knows? I might actually have a full-time team at some point, but I'm
Mm-hmm.
not I'm not really sure, because I am in fact moving out pretty soon to a completely different state, and I have a completely different schedule now, so I
Mm-hmm.
I don't really know. We'll play it by ear.
Yeah, with what Night Fox is doing, keeping the editors busy is from what he explained is mainly so they don't go look for work elsewhere. He keeps them busy, even if he has no work for them. He keeps them busy with other people's work. That way, when he does need them, all right, listen, I got a video for you to edit, and they're ready. It's no, I got to finish this video I'm working on. That's why he does that. It's just keeps them busy, so whenever he needs them, he has them ready. And it, just like you said, it really is a smart way to do it. It does, for someone, a smaller channel, it's not really financially a good decision to do. But
Right.
he has 1.69 million subscribers, I believe, and
Mm.
I'm pretty sure he's bringing in some good money from his videos. But
Oh, easily.
I also wanted to know, how does Night Fox tie into all of this? When he popped up in the video, I was like, wait, what? Night Fox?
Oh yeah. Funny story. So around Swirl Apocalypse, the first episode that came out, I don't know how Night Fox found the video. I don't know if someone sent it to him. I don't know if he just found it in his recommendations. But Night Fox has mentioned me a few times in his videos. There was one point where he's like, "Oh, look at this guy, like doing the stupid boots, like he's doing something with them." And he's like, "I'll contribute to the cause," and he donated me 1,400 boots. But then he saw something in Swirl Apocalypse, and he's like, "I want to make a video on this." And I'm going to be 99% sure. I don't know for certain, but I'm going to be 99% sure that it's definitely because he didn't have a video. Definitely didn't have a video to make, and he needed something just to fill in the slots, like you said, with the editors, and he just needed something to react to. I'm like, and yeah, that's completely fair. I completely allow it. So he did reach out. Asking, if he one can react to it and have all and have exclusive royalty to it. I'm like, sure, why not? And two, do a little be in a little call. I'm like, you want to get into a call? He's like, yeah, sure. So a few hours go by and he calls me, and I go, and we call for a bit, and he's like, I realized that, you have all these swirls. I'm like, yeah, I do. I have a lot. And he said, how is 50,000 sound? I'm like, wow, that's pretty good. That is quite a bit. And then he's like, oh yeah, let me give you a Titanic signed and an exclusive serial. I'm like, whoa, what? Huh? What? What? You didn't just say that. And he's like, yep. And he gave a signed exclusive serial, Titanic strawberry corgi, I think it was, to me, and told me to give it away in any way that I want. And I said, all right. So instead of just giving it away to the person who sent the most swirls, because there was, I did have a system where, at the end of every video, I'd be like, send me as many swirls, and if you send me the most, you'll get a prize. So instead of just giving one Titanic away to one person, I decided to split it up amongst 5 of the episodes. And instead of, giving away a 10 billion worth Titanic, I was then giving away 2 billion diamonds, or 2 billion worth to each winner. I was like, after this whole experience, it kind of came out of nowhere. Like, I was not expecting this, not even in the plan. I had to add a whole nother page of bulletin points, like, after this happened to the plan. It's like, oh no, I gotta I type all this up. But, I then thought, how would I explain to everyone that Night Fox kind of came out of nowhere and gave me a Titanic? I'm like, I thought of a scene where he would literally just come to my house and give me a Titanic as if it was just nothing. Because that's quite literally what happened, but I wanted to be more literal with it. So I made that whole animation in that movie about it. And then I asked him afterwards, he's like, hey, thank you, first of all, but two, would you want to be in the item apocalypse at any point, like just for a brief cameo? He's like, sure. And they said, oh, what if you were the one who announced the finalist winners? And he's like, oh, yo, bet. So he ended up announcing the winners for item apocalypse as well. And I cannot tell you of how I got so much secondhand embarrassment, because every every contestant who was in that voice call was glazing him to the point where it was getting annoying. And I felt I was getting secondhand embarrassment. I'm like, dude, be normal. One, be normal. Two, he is. I obviously he has a following and he's a YouTuber, but like, just treat him like a normal person, please. Like, what are we
Mm-hmm.
doing? Like, what are we doing? Can we stop glazing? So, that's why I actually had to hire one of my mods to make a program to mute and unmute every contestant on command, just because I knew that was going to happen. People were not
Mm-hmm.
just going to stop talking about Night Fox,
Yeah, during that
which is a
scene,
really funny addition.
when Night Fox was in the voice chat with everybody, I'm like, how is none of these kids freaking out right now?
Oh, they were. We just had a mod with a program in the background, constantly toggling all on and off the mute feature for everyone except for the contestants. The contestants had the right to speak whenever they want,
Mm-hmm.
and thank God the three finalists were not glazing Night Fox. Thank God they knew like how to keep their cool and be normal people and normal and civilized, but
Mm-hmm.
not the rest, not the people who were eliminated. They just wouldn't stop talking about him. But Night Fox, in terms of the lore, he's not really important. He just kind of loops into how he's kind of like the chaotic good of
Mm-hmm.
what you can do to help people in the economy. And
Mm-hmm.
I just want to like briefly mention that he's not really too important to the lore, though. I feel like there were a lot more characters who were more important. But yeah, he was a nice addition. Prevented me from going broke and all that.
Mm-hmm.
And and also praise Night Fox for the amount of times I've asked him to do a script and he actually ends up doing it. Like, praise, thank you, Night Fox. Appreciate it. But it's just been a wild journey with that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was once I saw him pop up, I'm like, wait, Night Fox is part of this whole thing too. That was really cool having him as a cameo in there. Um, so we've gone over most of everything about the item apocalypse. So, let's go over about you a little bit, like your start in all of this, like YouTube, video production, the whole thing that you learned for you did school videos and all that. What
Hmm.
what got you into all of this?
So, funny that you say that because I just called like a few hours ago. I just called the person who literally got me into making YouTube videos in the very first place, and it was my cousin who lives, so far away, but we still keep in contact. I remember when I was, oh God, I don't even know what age I was, but I remember in 2013 he showed me what Minecraft was, and I
Mm-hmm.
got on my crusty little Samsung tablet, and I got it, and I was like, wait, this is amazing. He's like, yeah, you should see the videos on him. Like, videos? There are videos on Minecraft? Like my child brain could not comprehend that there were Minecraft videos out there. So he showed me YouTube, and he was like, whoa. I was like, whoa, this is the coolest thing ever. Like, I videos, whatever I want, whenever I want. Like, that is awesome. So he showed me, a few YouTubers. I think, yeah, a few of them were like, the basic, nostalgia Minecraft YouTubers that everyone knows.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, you probably know some because I definitely know, or probably your kids are always watching videos.
Yeah, so everybody that has been on podcast that's a content creator always started on Minecraft, including myself. And everybody knows like Technoblade as like
Oh yeah.
the
Ooh,
biggest Minecraft YouTuber.
sorry for a brief interruption, but I do want to mention something about Technoblade a little later.
Sure.
Um, but yeah, no, as you were saying.
No, that was pretty much it. It's just
Oh,
every content creator, and I say this like for like the past four content creators, I've said this after they answered, is that everybody else has started with Minecraft, and it's crazy how Minecraft has started the careers of so many video game content creators.
oh yeah, absolutely. And what was it? It was funny that you mentioned Technoblade because Oh my gosh, it's so weird saying this, but I actually was part of the Potato War in Technoblade series,
Really?
which is so funny because I basically just became Technoblade and Betsim. Like
Yeah, pretty much.
I did not personally meet Technoblade, but I was directly affiliated with a lot of the people who were like his goons. Like
Hmm.
like it was a pyramid scheme basically. It was the weirdest thing ever because Technoblade would hire goons for actual money, and then those goons would have their own teams. And I was part of one of those teams. And basically, this guy would be like, "All right, your only job, literally, your only job is to check these three things between this time and this time in these time zones." I was like, okay, sure. And I think, I had like some weird jobs. I think I just had to like, constantly refill like fuel and minions. I can't really remember that much. It was like 4 or 5 years ago. No, it was 5 years ago. But, it was pretty funny how, working indirectly for Technoblade in the Potato War actually ends up me becoming him in another game.
Hmm.
But and also back to how I kind of started. So I found out Minecraft YouTube exists, and I was watching all these YouTubers. I was like, this is pretty funny. What if there were like animations, like the funny SpongeBob on the TV and the funny the funny cartoons on the TV? What if those were on YouTube? I was blown away even more. I found the storytime animator niche, which
Hmm.
is like the storytime animator niche, the OSC niche, which is like with objects and stuff. I
Hmm.
found so many little niches of like animation that I just became a fanatic in all. I became like a fanatic in all of it. And I was like, wait, what if I just like started making animations? And in like 2017, I made my first animation. It was the worst thing ever. It was literally about my friend going to Chuck E. Cheese and beating up the mascot. It was like the most deranged thing my like child brain could possibly think of, but it was the funniest start I can probably have to making animations.
Hmm.
And for a bit, I remember my parents were not a fan of YouTube at all. They were like, what is this like? They're like, what is YouTube? And they would always spell it with like the letter U
Hmm.
instead. Like that's when they were like they clearly didn't know. But
Hmm.
they weren't really a fan of it. So when I said I want to post videos on YouTube because I thought it was like cool that my friends could get like 50 subscribers by like posting like little videos, and my cousin was doing it. The guy who got me into it, he was posting his little Minecraft roleplay skits. I was like, I want to do that too. And I asked my parents, they're like, no, no. So instead of obviously being the good law-abiding child I was, I did it anyway. I did it I posted it anyway, and on my 12th birthday, I posted my first video on YouTube, and it literally was like the first time where I was like, this YouTube thing I actually kind of want to do. And
Hmm.
um, throughout middle school, I think it was, yeah. Throughout middle school, I was just like making videos, whatever I wanted. It didn't matter. I didn't want the algorithm. I didn't want subscribers. I just did whatever I wanted. I just made
Hmm.
all this like, just like content, and it wasn't good, but it made me happy. It made my friends happy.
How well did
And
they do?
not much. I think prior to me actually, so my first viral video was, funny enough, my first ever Roblox video, and it was called "How to Get Robux into Your Group Funds Without Premium." And this is before the days of please donate. So
Hmm.
I thought I was an actual genius of just like buying other people's game passes, because like that was very niche. That was like please donate didn't exist. All those donations didn't exist. So like
Hmm.
donating to people through game passes was like the way that I found, and ended up getting views.
Hmm.
So but beforehand, I think I was like averaging maybe like 100 to 200 views a video. Like it really wasn't a lot. Every
Hmm.
once in a while I'll break the 4-digit counter or the
Hmm.
4-digit view mark, but they weren't really getting anywhere, and they're cringe. They are cringe. Although looking back at them, I'm like, wait, middle school me made this, and I got to be honest, I'm kind of impressed for how I actually did end up making this in the computer lab of my middle school. So kudos to me, I guess. But pandemic hit. I found out that editing softwares exists. I started learning DaVinci. Then I started making videos on other things like, Among Us. Among Us was a big one.
Hmm.
Stuff in the OSC, which is a very niche animation community. Friday Night Funkin', that was a big one. Minecraft. And then Pet Sim, then Pet Sim kind of came out of nowhere. I remember playing Pet Sim on my the first one, the first original game. I remember playing it on my Xbox back when I first started playing Roblox in early 2018. And I played Pet Sim 1 as it was going through its development stages. I was like watching Preston grow up. Um, but I was just kind of like, I was like, they're making another game. Let me just make a video on it. That video ended up getting 250,000 views in like a week,
Wow.
and that was the most I've ever gotten in my entire life. So I was like, you know what, this is probably going to be the thing I'm going to be doing from now on.
Hmm.
And ever since that point, I've just been making Pet Sim after Pet Sim after Pet Sim. Do I regret it? No, I'm just kidding. No, I don't. Not at all. Not at all. I don't regret it at all. I mean, I would be in a completely different state. A more stable mental state probably, but honestly, I think it was worth it. But, and then, as I was starting to learn YouTube, I then, realized, wait, there are like film classes at my school. There's like editing classes. Like, yo, this is insane. So I then dedicated all my electives one year to doing, I completely dropped everything I ever did with electives. I think I had like orchestra or whatever.
Hmm.
And then I was like, I want to do like Photoshop and like film. And, I did it like a comic class. I did all these like fun classes. My parents were like really confused. I was like, you just want to do this? And I was like, yeah, I do. And, and I started learning into those. I started learning about those classes, and then the teachers were like, you have potential. So then, throughout high school, my those teachers were like being like, "Yo, could you help me with this like project?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure." And I would knock it out and be like, "Wow!" And they're like really impressed. And then
Hmm.
it was to the point where I was literally doing like full on like student films with like those big $10,000 cameras and all that. And actually, over February, the a lot of I took a break from YouTube this past February,
Hmm.
and a lot of people didn't know why, but I'm just gonna say this now. I filmed with about like just under 10 people. We went to a tropical island in the Caribbean to film something that my friend decided to make in his free time. Like my
Hmm.
friend made a script and he showed it to a lot of colleges and schools, and those
Hmm.
colleges and schools were like, this is good, we're going to give funding to this. And we ended up getting like an insane amount. We ended up getting, I think it was like, oh god, I think it was nearing like $70,000 in funding for this
Wow.
film. And and we went to the Caribbean and we stayed there for, I think it was 6 days, and we
Hmm.
filmed every part. We filmed a different part every what was it, every day. And that trip was insane. There are so many stories I can tell, but it was pretty fun.
Hmm.
And I just basically want to do more of that. I want to do more of the film part. And I was like, wait, why do I have to keep making like these like pet sim videos when I could just make something that's film based?
Hmm.
And then I started making Boopocalypse and Itemocalypse into like actual like not really cinema, but like more movie and entertainment based rather than information based, like everything else in the community was. And I said, you know what? I think I'm gonna finally go with it and start doing short films, and that's where we are today. So
Hmm.
it was a long and tedious process. But, what started out as my cousin showing me Minecraft on my little tablet, like probably 13 years ago, ended up being literally the thing that changed my entire life and also his entire life too. You know,
Hmm.
it. I'm just gonna say this. Shout out to Quartz. He's the G. He's the one. He's I every time I'm like, can I just give you a shout out, please? Just like, can I like raid your stream, please? I just want you to get subscribers, and he refuses every time. It's like,
Hmm.
I like my little cluster of 500 people. Like, you know what? That's fair. That's fair. So I only pray that his channel blows up too.
That's the way everything just turned out. It was like you were destined for this moment.
Yeah, I
This movie
guess.
that you just released. It You got into film class because of YouTube, and you went into the Caribbean island and made a short film. Is there any way we could watch this film? Is it on the internet at all?
uh, so technically, I technically don't want to release it to
Mm,
I like to keep my personal films, like the films I make for, school, colleges, festivals, student films like that, maybe even more. I like to keep that completely separate from all my YouTube stuff
mm,
because if someone finds all of that, it has a lot of things that can like breach information. Like pretty much, it reveals a lot of names, and you can just search up the names and be like, oh, that means Stuwiee went to X school and he lives in Y town. Like I don't want people basically just finding out information.
yeah,
But
doxing
and
yourself
also,
pretty
even if
much.
I did want to show it, I don't think I legally can because I think the NDAs on some of them are still active.
Hmm.
But I can definitely say that the ones that I've made are definitely not NDA because I'm the one who made them. But that Caribbean one, I think it was a 6 month. I think it was a 6 month NDA agreement, and it started in November because that's when pre-production started in early November, and
Hmm.
we filmed in February, and I think it should be up pretty soon, but it's still being shown in festivals, and there's like a huge rule that you can't share specific films publicly on like YouTube or anywhere else if they're in a specific festival because then it
Hmm.
gets immediately disqualified. But I've seen that Caribbean film just finished post production last week.
Hmm.
Like it literally just finished. Like um you know yeah, it just finished, and I just saw it, and I was like, this is like insane. It ended up being only 7 minutes long, and we ended up recording almost 8 hours of footage.
Wow.
So that was a very interesting realization. But and then there was a few other films. We did a film in New York City, and it was a documentary on like how it was about specific. Oh my gosh, what was it? I keep forgetting. I wasn't really. I just did the main production. I didn't really was affiliated with it, but
Hmm.
it was something with how Chinese immigrants were, not really fitting in with the rest of New York City when they first came, and now we're seeing the after effects almost 100 years later. It was a really interesting documentary that we made.
Hmm.
Um, I mean, I could probably name, I guess, what was another one? Another one we did was we did a film in a mountain range, and it was just basically, and we did a whole like sequence of like all these different like mountain range different shots. We just had just and we did all this traveling. We did 5 days of traveling for like 8 shots, and then the rest of the film took place in my friend's apartment. Like it was a really uneven setup. So yeah, 5 days was 8 shots, maybe amassing 20 seconds of final runtime, and then
Wow.
the rest of the film took place in his apartment. To be fair, his apartment looks pretty nice. I'm just that's all I'm gonna say. But it actually ended up being an award winning for a couple film festivals. So ended
Oh,
up
that's
doing
cool.
well. And I looked at this whole like film life because I liked being in film and I liked doing stuff. And I also liked anything about production. I was like, I think I want to do this more.
Hmm.
So that's why I'm now actually going to I'm actually going to a college that, really specializes in that. And I'm going to be more busy with that than YouTube within the next couple months.
Hmm.
So, you will see the upload schedule be slowly deteriorating over the next couple months to a year. But, I'm still going to be posting. I'm still going to be, uploading. It might be like once every 6 months at some point. Like,
Hmm.
it's going to be horrendous.
That's crazy. Like the whole backstory around everything, and like I could see a year down the road, 2 years down the road, you making some crazy, insane videos.
Yeah, I mean, the we're only just going up with the quality. It was getting to the point where the quality was getting too good. I hate this sounds egotistical, and I feel like a narcissist when I'm saying it, but you know, the quality of my videos was getting too good compared to the other videos in Pet Sim that I just started one upping myself, and the only person I was trying to beat was myself, and that
Mm-hmm.
gets dangerous because at
Mm-hmm.
what point do you stop? At what point do you gotta you start like putting your foot on the brakes. Like there really is no point where you do that. And I think Mr. Beast had like when you did the Squid Game video a few years ago, I remember his manager was talking about like you just made like the best piece of cinema that you possibly could on your channel. How are you going to do it even more? And then Mr. Beast started doing bigger budgets, bigger projects, and it gets dangerous to the point where you're going into a financial loss and you're
Mm-hmm.
risking your entire company just because you want the video to be just a little better than the last one. So I had to at some point I do have to ease on the brakes. I don't know when yet. I'm clearly not at that point because I just want to get better and better. But um, who knows? Who knows? Who knows? I don't really know.
So that's what lies in the future of Stewie, is just
hmm
trying to get a little bit better and then see where we go from there.
Yeah, pretty much. I'm trying to learn how to I kind of know how to animate, but I'm trying to like learn how to animate better.
Mm-hmm.
Like with all the fight scenes and stuff, because I want to make those. I like as much as I want to hire other people, I do actually just want to make them myself. And I also want to learn how to make music as well,
And how
because I
much
feel
does it
like I got
cost?
everything else in the bag.
How much does it cost for those animations?
Oh, it really depends which animator I'm hiring. If it's like a 2D animator, it's not going to be that much because usually the 2D animators are pretty fast. But the
Mm-hmm.
3D animators are a bit different. Like the Roblox Moon animators are it can range it can either be like a fixed sum, like they're like, all right, you want this? All right, let's just say like flat out like X amount of dollars. And then some people are like, oh, we'll do a rate like X amount of dollars or X amount of cents or X amount of whatever per second of runtime.
Mm-hmm.
So it ranges quite a bit, but an overall range that I've paid for animations, it could range from like $10 to $300
Mm-hmm.
in what I've paid for. So
That's not bad. That's not
no, not
bad.
really. It's doable. It's definitely doable. But with these videos getting more and more ambitious, it's definitely just gonna go up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, with how you do everything with your film production, I can relate to a lot of it, but not in film production, but with the development of the game we're making. And
Oh,
yeah, we have so many different people in different areas of the game. Like I have to talk to animator, I have to talk to the VFX, I have to talk to both of my scripters, my modeler. There's just so many people that are part of this project, and like I'm relating so much with what you're saying, but you're in a completely different category,
yeah.
and it's crazy. Yeah, with the animations, though, our animator, he's excellent. He's a guy from Brazil, and I'm able to speak to him in Portuguese because I'm also Brazilian, and the animations he makes are crazy, and the amount of money I pay him is like around what you say. You know, it could be $10 for a simple animation, or it could be $60 for something crazy. And
Oh yeah. Yep.
so the cost to make the movie that you made, $800 for a hour and a half, that's decent. You know,
Yeah, it's the budgeting ended up being pretty good on that. And what was it? I what was it? ever since I started making, some sort of money off of YouTube, my parents have
Mm.
been like, wait, this is like an actual thing you're doing? Like, this is real? Like, you're not just joking?
Mm.
Because the moment that I asked for bank account information, they're like, whoa, step on the brakes,
Yeah.
hold on, run that back. So, ever since I've taken this seriously, they've been like, they completely switched the gears. They went from completely against it, discouraged me, never wanted me to do this, to
Mm.
now encouraging me, wanting me to do this even more, and all that. And of course I got to give credit. I have to give credits to my parents, of course, for allowing
Mm.
me to do all this. I do talk to them about a lot of the financial stuffs, making sure I'm not going into a financial loss with anything.
Mm.
And I did the invoices, and I showed, I think it was my dad and a few other people, and they're like, "Wow, you made." I'm not going to say how much, but you made X amount of dollars with only $800 of budget. Like, that's
Mm.
pretty good. I'm like, yeah, I think I did. I think I did pretty well with it. So, but like you were saying before, the with the animator, was that animator? Are they just doing like like game animations, or are they making whole scenes?
We'll have both in the game.
Oh, okay,
Not complete scenes like movie scenes or anything, just cut scenes, normal cut scenes.
got it. Okay.
Probably the longest cut scene in the game will probably be about not even 10 seconds.
Oh wow. Okay, but it's probably extremely detailed and dense.
Yes, I'm just like how you do with your videos. I'm not just making a game just to make a game. Like I'm literally making sure every detail is perfect. And
Hmm.
it's definitely going to be a game that's like no other game on Roblox. And I've every podcast that I've recorded on here, I try to listen a little bit to like their opinions on certain games. That way, I could avoid anything they're talking about with my game. Like you were,
Ooh.
like you were talking about earlier, and that I, recorded in my brain is how big games does the whole gambling thing, and you should lean more towards of having a way for the free to play players to be able to obtain everything the pay to win players are able to obtain. And we in our game we actually do have something similar to that, and it's almost like what you said. But I don't want to give too much information out, but we do have something in our game for that. And I think it's possibly like one of the best ways to do uh for a game in Roblox. It's just I know one game that did it was what was it? Pet World from Isaac
Oh
Studios.
yeah.
But the way they did it was very generous. And so you didn't even have to spend Robux on that game in order to get everything. Like you just had to AFK for a week and then you'd be able to buy a game pass. It was just rewarded by how much time you spent on the game. So the way it was executed was very generous for the free to play players, but very damaging for the studio itself. So
Right. I
just got to
had I
find
had
a
a feeling.
balance. Yeah, you just got to find a balance to where, like you were saying, you have to work for it, and that's pretty much what we're gonna do. You have to work for the ability to get the game passes for technically free, even though you're spending hours of your life on it. But I take these little bit, it's never really a suggestion to me. I'm just like listening and I'm like, okay, so this person doesn't like this. I kind of agree. So let's try implementing that into the game to avoid, some type of thing that will make players upset or make them not want to play the game.
Hmm. And I do have a recommendation if you are going. So, like you said before, with Isaac Studios, I've talked to
Mm.
Isaac, and he went into depth of how, like, of how generous they were being, and how they kind of like ran out of revenue to actually like continue like making the game.
Mm,
And you know, I got to say this: there has to be a line we have to draw somewhere where the free to play players
mm,
or like the pay to win players need to have some sort of incentive. So here's what I'm thinking. What if there was an exclusive egg? I'm just like putting an example out. There was an exclusive egg,
mm,
but and you can obtain it through either a free to play method, which is getting enough currency
mm,
of like AFKing or grinding or whatever, or you can buy directly with Robux. And maybe when you buy directly with Robux, it gives you something else, but it doesn't help you in any way. It's like purely cosmetic or for visual purposes. Because that's what
mm,
most RNG games are. They're just for cosmetic and visual purposes. Like they don't actually do anything. And
mm,
people spend money on that. So I feel like there is definitely a incentive to like you can buy a specific pet in the store for 800 currency, or you can just pay 800 Robux. If you pay
mm,
the 800 currency, great, you just get the pet, that's it. But if you get it with Robux and you buy it with Robux, maybe it will get like a special cosmetic, or it'll be like a random color, or it would be shiny, but it actually wouldn't like affect anything in the gameplay area. Like it would be
mm,
still statistically the same as if you just worked for a free to play. So that gives an incentive for pay to win players to also to also spend money in the game, because what I've realized with a lot of simulators that do like that do this tactic is that when they first release, their revenue skyrockets into the air, because that's when people are putting their game passes in, that's when people are buying a lot of things so they can get ahead in the game. But as they
mm,
start updating it, they slowly start seeing it go less and less and less and less and less. And people
yeah.
are like, oh, just add more game passes, or oh, just add more incentive. But that's not the point. They're already like so far in the game that it's just become useless.
Mm,
So there has to be some sort of end game at some point. But I feel like a simulator with an end game that you can never reach is like would really keep the incentive up. And I'm not just talking about like, oh, just add another 100 areas for Pet Simulator that will continue it forever. Like I feel like there has to be a cliffhanger of something. I don't really know what it could be, but like maybe like that's something I could like that someone could really do. But it
mm,
gives an incentive for pay to win players to also spend money, because to be honest, you need those pay to win players to keep the studio afloat. And
yep.
no matter what you do, you're always going to get people being like, oh, this is pay to win, or oh, they have transactions. Like, let's be for real here. You got to have that to keep your studio afloat. You just don't got to be as annoying as big games.
Yeah,
Like, there's a balance.
if you enjoy the game, let the game make money. Because if they don't, you're just gonna enjoy that single update that you're playing currently, and you're not gonna be able to play anything in the future. They gotta make money, and
Right. And I feel like with big games, I gotta admit, big games has broken a lot of walls that people thought were indestructible, like uh, external products, meaning like the plushies and the
mhm.
merchandise and targets and whatever. Like that really broke the wall. They were the first. I'm pretty sure they were the first to do that, right? Like do like plushies and have in-game codes for them.
For a Roblox game, I'm not sure, but I think they were with that huge with the cat plushie.
Yeah, I definitely think that they were the ones who started it. So gotta give it to big games. They broke a wall right there. Now a lot of other Roblox games are doing it. And I feel like
Hmm.
that is a fantastic way to monetize your game. I feel like you should go down the B Swarm route, because B Swarm is pretty much like what I said. You could spend Robux to get yourself ahead, but it won't give you a permanent advantage. It would just
Hmm.
get you ahead. It would get you like a little bypass,
Yeah.
because eventually all the items that you would need to get anything you need in the game would actually just be grinding. It would just be pay to win players would be it would be slightly easier and faster for them. But at some point, both the pay to win and free to play are going to get the same item with no
Hmm.
strings attached. And currently, what B Swarm is doing is they're releasing merchandise on Epic Drops. I don't think they're in stores yet, but they're on Epic Drops. They don't have a code with them, but they have incentives to get them, because one, It's a freaking bee plush that's like, what else would you ever want in life? And with a smug face too. And two, it doesn't give you a direct advantage, but it gives you certain cosmetics that don't actually affect how the game works. It's just purely just for looks. And you can get cosmetics through that. So technically, it is not really technically pay to win. So I don't really know. But I guess you could do something like On It and Bee Swarm, because obviously that game's been out for like 7 or so years and it's still getting like a billion concurrent players. Maybe not a billion, but still getting like 20,000 probably.
Yeah, it's usually around 25,000. Then when Beesmas is around, it's usually around 40. But with Bee Swarm Simulator, I can say you are completely right with the whole pay to win to it. I spent months and months recording one single video. I wanted to go from starting the game to killing the coconut crab, and I was like almost there, and then I gave up on the video. But I am a very pay to win player. I like any game I play, if I have an interest in it, I'll buy every single game pass in that game. And with Bee Swarm Simulator, I'm like, all right, how can I progress fast? Okay, I progressed fast for now, but like I can't do anything more. And that game is just really, really grindy. Horribly grindy.
It turns a lot of people off. You're right.
It's very grindy, and you know, I did stop playing it because of how grindy it is. It was constantly all day, every day for months, running on my laptop just so I could finish making this video, and I ended up just giving up and using my laptop for keeping my main account on Pet Simulator so I could continue development on my game on my main PC.
Okay.
Yeah, you know, that style of game, you know, it's great for those that enjoy the grind, but overall I feel like a lot of people are too lazy for that. And
I can see that.
I feel a lot of pay to win players like myself will complain a lot. But the incentive of having something that will boost their progress in the game and also offering the same thing to free-to-play players but with extra work to obtain it, I think that's probably the best way to go about it.
And I definitely agree. I feel like with the grindy part, like you said, at that point, I feel like you should just make the grinding part more enjoyable to do. Because don't get me wrong, pay to win players can still buy their way to to get ahead of everyone else. But at some point, the free to play is going to catch up, and at some point, they do have to even out somewhere and not be permanently advantaged, and the free to play to be permanently disadvantaged. So I feel like to grind, it has to be fun, and I feel like when I say that, it reminds me of one game that I used to play all the time, and it was Evade. Nico's Next Spots was the original, but then Evade took over. Evade is like the Next Spots game, and I feel like you don't have to do something like next spots, but just the whole like the concept of grinding and it's fun just really got a lot of people to start playing. I think Forsaken's the same thing. I don't really know. I haven't played it. I think Pillar Chase 2 is the same thing. Rivals is the same thing. You like the grinding part is fun. Like you want to enjoy it. I feel like that would really fix the problem of like people being lazy or like just want to get ahead of the game. And I feel like making the grinding part actually enjoyable to do instead of just like a tedious task you got to put on a separate laptop to just have it grind is really the way to go. But how you do that, I don't know. That I don't know how you would do that. The actual grinding part. You can have like definitely gameplay mechanics. Like maybe I wouldn't do something like Pet Sim where they have the mini games because those get tedious after a while.
They get boring.
Yeah. Oh, actually, I just thought of a good idea. I remember this game that came out from an indie developer on Steam. It was called Will You Snail? And the whole point of the game was that there was an AI constantly changing the obstacles in the platformer to
Hmm.
match your previous movements. So
Oh
no matter
wow.
what, you can never go through the same level the same. It's always different. So I was thinking, oh, what if it was like one of those like pet sim mini games, but it would always change.
Hmm.
Like it would change every time and in real time too. And then you could expand the idea even more. It can be on rivals, like either the item or the weapon that you use it gets changed, and like the stats get mixed every time.
Hmm.
Um, and the map changes as you go. You can never play the same map the same. So like tactics of playing the same map, and constantly winning, or like strats would constantly be irrelevant. You would need to constantly revision and constantly like react and make more methods, which in
Hmm.
turn would get you more players to spend more money and more time, which could get more engagement payouts, more money. There you go. That's how you loop it back. So again, I feel like I just like came up with like the next game, but
Hmm.
I damn know that I'm not gonna do it because I've no idea how to Roblox develop. The only game I've ever developed was I was trolling my friend. We made a horror game about him. It was like he was like basically we just made my friend. We just pasted his face on like an entity, and then he just started chasing everyone throughout the back rooms. That's the only game I've ever developed. That and Wahid's World, which is like a little joke game that me and a friend made, where we're like, oh, what if your dad was a celebrity? Wahid, what if he was a celebrity? And we're like, all right, let's make a Roblox game. I don't know why, but those are the only two times I've ever made a Roblox game, and I think I want to leave it there. So if
Hmm.
anyone wants to take that idea, I demand 50% of all revenue directly wire transfer to my savings account, if you don't mind. Don't do the checking account because then it goes through a whole process, but do the savings one.
Smart. Yeah, the way we're developing our game is everything you do in the game is just going to be fun. I don't want anything to be boring in the game. We're going to have ways for you to be able to AFK whatever part of the game, except for certain parts. And then there's going to be the fun manual playing for those that like to actually play the game. You know, with Pet Simulator,
Hmm.
you don't actually play the game. You set it up and you walk away.
Right.
So that's what I want to change with our game. We want our players to be able to have fun and play the game. But
True.
yeah, and I'm not making a simulator. Um
Good.
yeah,
Good.
it's not a simulator game, but it's definitely a fun game. If I was to tell you the game loop and tell you everything about it, you'd be like, "Oh wow, that's different and very cool." And I don't even think there's any games outside of Roblox similar to the way I'm making this game. So it's possibly a one of one out of the entire
Ooh,
world.
I'm excited.
Yeah,
Seems interesting.
I'm excited, and we actually just started rebuilding all the maps in the game because I spoke to Beveruni. I told you about her earlier, and all the leaks that we've put out on our game was the like terrain realistic looking map, and she was like, if you want to have a decent player base, I suggest you changing all your maps into low poly, kind of like how Pet Sim is. Everything
Oh,
looks
okay.
like plastic and all that. So we just started rebuilding all the maps yesterday, and it's looking amazing. It looks way better than the realistic map that we've made.
And I'm glad you went with that because the low poly definitely matches with the Roblox brand a lot more. And
Hmm.
because if you make it too realistic, it doesn't feel like Roblox. And at that point, why even put it on Roblox? Just put it on Steam or on
Yeah,
itch.io.
yeah,
Like
that's what a lot of
there's a
people
reason why
said.
you have it on Roblox. So it would make sense to make it look like a Roblox game. Like Grow a Garden is so low poly, it can be made in the depths of 2007. Like I have no idea how it's even that low poly. I can see each individual stud on everything I see.
Mm-hmm.
Pisses me
Yeah.
off almost.
Yeah, you can play that on Windows 95.
Oh yeah, easily. Like Windows -3 at this point. But I wouldn't say that low poly. I feel like Grow a Garden is too low poly. That's like where it gets annoying.
Mm-hmm.
But like the low poly like Pet Sim. Like I'm gonna be honest, I like Pet Sim's design. Like it's really simple.
Mm-hmm.
It's like eye candy,
Yeah.
which it gets annoying after a while. But like the whole low poly of the maps, like they have some good map makers. Like
Mm-hmm.
with the worlds, like no one really takes a moment to really analyze each area and how it was developed in each world.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's actually like a lot of time I could tell was put into it. Like soul like feelings and personality and humanity was put into it. I know it
Yep.
seems crazy for a game, but
And
still I can see it.
during our when I used to stream on Blocks Family, that's one thing I hated was when we would go through every new area, I'd be like, all right, let's look at this area. And, I'd showcase the entire area we just unlocked, and everybody's just like, just get to the end, just get to the end, hurry up, hurry up. And I'm just like, let's look at the map, look at it. This Jamie spent so long on building this map, and we're just gonna quickly just speed through, just look at it. And that's one thing I'm forcing players to do right when you get into our game. The very first thing is you walk out and you see the entire map and just like the beauty of the map. Like I'm forcing players to look at the map. That's the very first thing they do. And we're going really into detail with everything. Like one thing I'll say is a lot of the things with the building of our maps will make sense. For example, in a lot of games, you'll see mushrooms all over the map. It makes no sense. To me, like, realistically, mushrooms will grow by trees in the shade, never in the sun. And a lot of people, when they build their maps, the mushrooms are in the sun, nowhere near a tree or on a dead tree. So in our game, we do that. So a mushroom will grow on a tree, will grow in the shade. You'll never see the mushroom in the sun. And like everything just has to make sense in every, 10 by 10 of studs, just everything has to make sense. That's how
Hmm.
picky I am with how the building of the maps in our game is.
Oh no, I totally respect it. Well, in reality, and to be fair, it's like a lot of people are just gonna be skimming over that anyway, no matter
Hmm.
how much you push it into their faces.
Yep, I
But
know that.
the immediate incentive to look at the map and look for everything would be nice. I feel like the best way to kind of like make people look at the map and enjoy everything is like a hunt or
Hmm.
like a hide and seek.
Hmm.
Maybe some sort of mini game, like required mini game where you have to hunt for specific items or you have to do hide and seek or
Hmm.
some way to explore the map, like you said before. But I feel like something more direct, being like find something, like it's like very direct. Because again, you are appealing to a Roblox audience, and you got to realize how not a lot of Roblox players have all their frontal lobe developed, so you know what I'm saying. Like you
Yeah.
gotta you gotta keep it fairly simple because I know a lot of great Roblox games that have such a complicated and niche like play pattern and like how to play and like all and rules and stuff and like
Hmm.
instructions. It just kind of shuts a lot of people off.
Yeah. Yeah. With there's this one game. Oh man, I forgot what it's Devas something, Devas. But that game, when I played it, I'm like, how is there only 300 people playing this game right now? This game is like
Devs of
absolutely
Creation.
amazing. Yes, that one. In that
Oh, this does
game,
look pretty good.
it was great. It was like playing a Roblox version of World of Warcraft. And
Yeah, I can definitely see it. I can
yeah,
definitely see it.
yeah, it was a great game and only had like 300 people on it when I went to play it. So You know,
Yeah, Roblox ain't looking for those types of games. They're not looking for things that are good. They're looking for things that make money. Which is why Pet Sim is so high and
yeah.
Bubblegum Sim is so high on the charts. Like,
Hmm.
I'm gonna be honest when I say this. Like, um, the only time you'll like every once in a while you'll get a game that's like unironically really good, but it's
Hmm.
still like it's like it actually has players. Because usually all the good games you find on Roblox don't have a lot of players, but every once in a while you'll find one that gets a lot of players for no reason. The like,
Hmm.
good one is Doors because it was very niche for its point.
Yeah.
It appealed to such a broad audience that Roblox was like, wait, people who have like less than 3 brain cells like this? Screw it, push it. Why not? And they push it out. They push it out to everyone, and now a lot of people are playing it. You can. I'm gonna be honest. That's like the same thing with YouTube. YouTube's the same thing, same
Hmm.
logic.
Yep. Brain rot.
So, and I kind of been using that too, but kind of like toning it up a bit.
Hmm. Yeah, but what you do on YouTube is your version of art, and everything's very well planned out. You you got a PowerPoint for everything, pretty much. Not a
Yeah,
PowerPoint.
plan.
Yeah, I forgot the word.
I'm.
But yeah, a
Uh,
plan for everything, and you do it well. And
yeah, and I have. You should see these spreadsheets that I have. I have
that's
at
the word,
least
spreadsheet.
20. I have at least 20 different spreadsheets for every single possible part of both the channel, the videos, and the competition, and also
Hmm.
PetSim. I don't know why, but I have a spreadsheet of every single signature I've ever given to someone, and
Really?
that's why mine is so rare. I only have signed 171 pets ever,
Wow. Wow.
and it will probably stay. It will probably stay around that point. And
Hmm.
I've in each person the pet that I've signed, when I signed it, who it's for, the serial. It's like I have an issue. I have a problem.
Yeah,
I'm
I've
a
probably
very
signed
analytical
50.
person.
I've probably signed for others maybe 50 pets.
Oh, so yours is like even rare.
Yeah, the only pets that I sign are for like friends or people who have been subscribed to us for a long time. I don't like
Oh, that checks out.
yeah, so we have I myself have a very strict signing rule. My wife is a little more lenient with her signs, but
Hmm.
yeah, I don't not everybody gets a sign. I know
Oh yeah.
a lot of partners, they're always zeroed out on their signs. I think I have like over 600 pens right now.
Oh yeah. I'm the same thing. I think I'm just above 500. And I'm very strict with my signing rule, which is why I don't have a lot either. But
Hmm.
there is one exception. If like this sounds so funny, and I think I'm the only partner who would ever do this or something remotely like this. But if you do a backflip or front flip on camera and prove it's you, I'll give you a free signature. That's it. It's that simple. Send a video or live stream yourself doing a backflip or front flip for a signature, and I'll do it. I'll give it to you. No questions asked. It could be whatever you want.
Did
I
your
could
mom
even
get
give
one?
you a huge with a signature. But the thing is that a lot of people either fake it or they'll try and then they end up hurting themselves.
Hmm.
But like not but let me just preface this. Every time I say that, right after I say, please, for the love of God, if you think you're going to hurt yourself and you don't know how to do a backflip, then don't do it. I'm not encouraging you to hurt yourself. And then people do it anyway because, and the fact that, and it just proves how the fact that people are willing to like hurt themselves to
Hmm.
get a virtual pet signature, that really says something, doesn't it?
Yeah, it
It
really
really
does.
says yeah, it really says something. But I don't regret. I think it's the funniest way to give out signs, and I think I'm gonna keep it like that. I think what was it? I was in a what was it? I was in a server. What was it earlier today with
Hmm.
a few other partners like Aussie, and then one of Aussie's friends. I'm assuming asked for a signature on their like Titanic like what's that one Thanksgiving bear?
The
It's like
teddy
the
bear?
Yeah, yeah. I don't think it was it a teddy bear? It was like an autumn teddy bear. Titanic teddy
Yeah.
bear. But they asked for a sign on it. And I said, do a backflip. And like, really? You're really gonna make me do a backflip for a sign? And it clearly hinting like, yo, I'm friends with like all these partners. You're really gonna make me still do the backflip? Like, yeah, I don't care. Someone wanted me to sign their with their rainbow gargantuan,
Mm-hmm.
and it had Night Fox over it, or it was either Night Fox or Coilless, like a rare signature.
Mm-hmm.
And they want me to sign over it, and I said, do a backflip. And they're like, dude, it's a rainbow gargantuan. You don't want to sign it? I said, nope. I don't care. I don't care. Just do a backflip and I'll do it. People have done other things. Like someone did a magic trick. A few other people have done TikTok dances. Some guy, some guy ended up breaking his own. Okay, that sounds really bad. He broke one of his PRs for a specific exercise. And like he ended up, and it was really impressive. I think he ended up benching like 3 plates,
Mm-hmm.
and he improved that it was him. He's like, "Can I get the signature?" I'm like, man, I really respect the fact that you can bench 3 plates. Like that is a very respectable thing, and I give you all my respect. But I will not be giving you a signature. It's just not happening. I ended up giving him a couple huges without a signature
Mm-hmm.
for like even trying for that, but like. And that's usually what I'll do. I'll give them a couple huges anyway.
Yeah.
But they're not signed. But that's, I think it's the funniest way to give out signatures, and that's why I'm only giving out like 1 or 2 or 3 a month at most.
Very unique. Now, did Jamal get one?
So funny enough, there are a few exceptions. Like one of the exceptions was if you were a part of the Itempocalypse contestant roster. So since Jamal was in fact a contestant, he did end up getting a huge that was signed by me, a 1 of 1. I need to find out.
He also
I
did
can
a
find out
backflip.
because I have it right here. I can find out which one. Oh, it was a golden huge lucky cat,
Mm.
and it's a 1 of 1. I will never sign another golden huge lucky cat.
Golden.
So yes, Jamal did indeed get one, and it kind of pisses me off how Jamal. I like me and a few other YouTubers were unironically planning to buy Jamal a PC because he currently has a Windows 7 and he can't even play Roblox on it because that's how old it is. So me and a few other YouTubers were planning to buy him a whole new setup, and then we realized, wait, you're in a country that we can't send stuff to. He's in the depths of Latvia.
Latvia?
So yeah, Latvia.
I've never even heard of that country.
It's like Eastern Europe. So and we're like, how do we send stuff to this country, to his house, like in this country's like restrictions? And not even Amazon could go to Latvia. So I'm like, oh crap, can't do anything. So yeah, we were immediately shut down because of where he lives.
Oh man.
But he said he did say he's moving to Poland. Him and his parents are moving to Poland soon. So who knows? We might give him a surprise as a move-in gift.
Yeah, Poland. You'll be able to send anything to Poland.
Pretty sure, yeah.
Yeah. But all right, dude. So, is there anything else you wanted to talk about before we wrap this up?
Oh man, I don't even know. There could be so many other things I want to talk about, but like, I don't think I can name any that I can just say right now.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any other questions? I'm assuming not.
You've pretty much answered most of my questions without me even asking. But yeah, most of my questions have been asked.
All right, cool. I really have nothing else to say then.
All right. Do you have any future projects coming out soon that you want to let people know about? I know you just let out a big one.
Well, I did, yeah, that big project that will come out late June, early July. But I mean, it depends when this video's out. I am doing a live stream on this Saturday, which is in 2 days. It'll be the last time I'm ever going to be on PetSim, ever. After that live stream, I'll never step foot in the game ever again. Everything, I won't be giving away everything. Like, I want to keep some stuff. Like my, what was it? Like my signed and cereal ones.
Hmm.
That rainbow poop's not going anywhere. That's staying with me. But I'm gonna be giving away, I'm gonna be giving so many things away on that live stream. So if this is out beforehand, check it out. It is on May 10th. I don't know what time.
Yeah, sadly for those listening to this right now, it is Sunday today, as in the
Oh,
day they're
oh no! You
listening.
just missed it. Oh, better luck next time. I might stream, maybe in like 2 more years, because I stream like once a year.
Wow. All right, dude.
So yeah.
Yeah, good luck on your future project. I want to check it out. Just let me know when it's out. I don't really watch YouTube other than things that I need to search. So just let me know when it's
Hmm.
out, and
Yeah,
maybe we
absolutely.
could record another podcast and talk about that.
Oh, absolutely. I would be down for another podcast.
All right, dude. I really appreciate you coming on. Thank you everybody for listening, and see you guys later.
Thank you.